Thank you to Ranking Member Lukemeyer. It is certainly a somber day here in the Small Business Committee, and on a number of fronts, but seeing our friend's nameplate and him not behind it is very, very sad. Jim told it like it was. Telling the truth was always the only option because our country's national security and economy is truly at stake. So let's get into this. In my district, you know, all this idea that the biggest problem small business has is big business. In my district, with the exception of big tech, and I was in business for 25 years, and I served as revenue secretary for the Commonwealth for 4 years, so I saw all the taxable incomes and who was doing what and so forth. With the exception of big tech these days and online retailers, and definitely Amazon, there's big government is not the problem. Or excuse me, big business is not the problem for small business. It's big government. But so let's unpack this a little bit. Let's talk about it. Dr. Holtz-Eakin. So in the BBB, our friends who passed it thought it was a wonderful idea to tack on a 3.8% surtax on investment income for pass-throughs. Was that good for small business?
No. And before I expand on that, I'll just point out that, you know, if you look at the NFIB monthly survey of small businesses, never is competing with large business mentioned as their biggest problem.
Right.
That's mentioned by 1% of people.
Precisely. And my research reflects your research throughout all of my district, and I visit my small businesses regularly. Let's try to do a little bit of
the surtax. Just remember that more than half of all business income is taxed on individual income tax returns. It's not taxed on C corporations.
Precisely.
So that's where you're going to hit small businesses.
Right, and under 400K in income. It's hurting their taxable income for a small business and then some. Would making the Trump tax cuts permanent be good for small business?
Yes. The uncertainty and
predictability,
bad idea.
keeping it where it is. They know where they're going to be the following year, because as we well know, a tax is nothing more than an added cost. And if we think it's a great idea to make cost of our businesses, large and small, higher than it is worldwide, well then, you know, somebody's going to have to dispute gravity for me, because it simply doesn't work that way. And of course, profits lead to more investment in your company, lead to higher taxable incomes, which in fact lead to higher revenues in the coffers of our treasury. So are heavier regulations good for small business?
No.
Dr. Holtz-Eakin.
No, I mean, there are
$210 billion added this year. That's not something that small business is benefiting by?
So there are benefits to regulations. Yeah. They better be bigger than $210 billion. So I have some questions about that.
Well, you know, very often government's intent is a far cry from what the end results are, because it's ridiculous to think that the regulations of 14 months ago somehow are so much better today at a cost of $210 billion that are helping somebody. It's not helping anyone but a bunch of bureaucrats work on enforcing it. So is government spending, heavy government spending, trillions of dollars in government spending, a cause or an inhibitor of inflation?
It is one of the causes of the U.S.
One of the causes of inflation. Is inflation good for small business?
No.
No. Inflation's not good for small business. It robs small business, and it leads to higher interest rates. Are higher interest rates good for small business?
No.
Okay. We're the Small Business Committee. We're supposed to be advocates for small business. These policies aren't exactly advocating for small business. Wouldn't you agree?
They're not good for the business community as a whole.
So how about workforce? Is government competing, providing benefits to workforce and making workforce less available? Is that good for small business?
We have a very big workforce problem in the United States right now, and it's in part due to the policies of the CARES Act and some successors. It's also due to a failure to have an effective public health mission against the pandemic, which has harmed labor supply in both the number of people and how much they can work.
Big government meddling, no question. Is higher gasoline prices good for small business?
No.
Spikes in gasoline prices is an assault on our domestic energy industry, which in my district contains many, many small businesses, suppliers, providers. Is that assault that's taking place on our domestic energy, let alone the national security issues, is that good for small business?
That was one of the success stories of the post-Great Recession recovery. Was the
Absolutely, particularly in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So I think we should let small business be the most competitive in the world, and let large business be competitive as well, and focus on the things that we actually can control, which are government regulations and taxation. I yield back.